Hey guys, one of the most common tools, if not the most common tool that you're going to find on a job site is actually the tape measure. Alright, now a lot of you guys watching this are woodworkers or at least woodworking enthusiasts, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know how to use this. But there are tons and tons of guys out there, I've met a few of them, that honestly have no idea how to use these things or how they work. Okay, now there's nothing to be ashamed about that. Some people just aren't in the trades anymore. But I learned that when I was in the Marine Corps. I had a guy come up to me and he's like, "Hey, Chris, I don't know how to do this project that you're talking about." I said, "What do you mean? What's the problem?" And he says, "Well, all this stuff that you're telling me, I don't understand because I don't know how to read a tape measure." And I honestly thought he was just messing with me, but the reality is, poor guy had no clue what he was doing. Okay. And I actually admired his courage and his honesty to say something. Okay, so if you're one of those guys, don't be ashamed because now's your time to learn. Okay, now basic anatomy of a tape measure is obviously it has all these numbers on it, and each one can be a little bit different. Okay, on this one it has broken down into sixteenths, and at the bottom it has all of your fractions. Okay, on this one, it does not have the fractions, just breaks it down up into sixteenths. Some of them break it down into the metric version as well. Okay? Now, what are all those little lines? Okay, this is what we're going to talk about right now. Now, let's just pretend, just for instructional purposes only, this is 1 inch. Okay, now that's pretty easy to figure out. That's just 1. Okay, now say we split 1 in half. What is this? Well, that 1 now becomes 1/2. Okay? Now, on your tape measure, that is one of the big markings that you have right here. Okay, that big line right there, that is obviously 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, and so on. Okay? Now, we cut that even smaller right here and right here. Now, each one of these pieces is 1/4 of the whole. Okay? So, here's a fourth, here's a fourth, here's a fourth, and here's a fourth. And actually, I'll just leave that as a half. Okay? Now, when you're talking fractions, this is kind of going back to grade school on this stuff. Now, I hated fractions when I was a kid. I actually didn't get half decent at fractions until I was a combat engineer in the Marine Corps. Alright? Now, when you get 1/4 and 1/4, is it 2/4? Technically, yes, but we can simplify that by making it 1/2. Okay? Now we have 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. We can make that 3/4, which is right there. Okay? And then 4/4, if you keep going, 4/4 will just give you a whole. Okay, so that would be 1 whole inch. Okay? Now, let's take this even further. Clear this up. Alright, so we have 1, which is right here, the half, quarter, quarter, quarter. Now we split that up even more. Half of a quarter is 1/8. Okay? Now, again, on fractions, when you have a fraction, let's just say 1/2, to cut that fraction in half, what do? Keep the top number the same, and you double the bottom number. Cut it in half again. Top number the same, double the bottom number. And most tape measures, they only go to about a 1/16. There are some, however, that actually go to the 32nds. Okay? Those are kind of hard to find, though. Occasionally you'll find them. Sometimes you'll have them where, like, the first foot or so will be in 30-second intervals. Okay? And that is a whole ton of lines going all the way down. But again, most tape measures, they're only going to go to the 16th. Okay? Alright, so again, we have 1, half, quarters, and then these are eighths. Okay? So when you count on a tape measure, say something is landing right here. Okay, what would that measurement be? Well, you can start by just counting over. You can actually start counting right here, or even right here, or you can even just reverse count from right here and go back 1. Okay, but we'll start at the very beginning. Alright, because you know that each one of these lines are the eighth. That would be 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, also a half, 5/8, 6/8, which again is 3/4, and that would be 7/8. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now something you want to try to do is get in the habit of knowing what each line represents. Okay, if the really big lines that usually go all the way across, those are your full inch marks. The ones go about halfway across, the smaller ones, a little bit smaller, is your half inch. Smaller ones are the quarter, and then the eighths, and then the little bitty ones are going to be the 16ths. Okay, so if you can figure out which one, and again, this kind of comes with time, a little bit of practice, figure out which each one of these lines represent, it makes counting a lot easier. Okay, let me give you an example. Say that the line or your measurement that you're trying to go for is right here. Okay, based on the size of the line, very small, little tiny line, that's going to be a 16th. Okay, so you can actually start counting up here from 16ths. 1/16, 2/16, 3/16, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9/16. Okay, let's do another one. Say that the line is, or what you're measuring to, is right here. You're looking at that and you know that that is a quarter line. So we can start counting over. 1/4. Okay? Or say you're not sure exactly what that is. You know that here's an eighth, 1/8, 2/8. And again, you can leave that as 2/8, but a much easier way to express that is 1/4. Okay? Hopefully this helps. In another video, I'm going to show you guys how to add fractions without a calculator, where you're just using a tape measure or some other sort of scale. Alright, thanks guys.